Hi everyone. Today I figured I would share with you how I tea stain my paper. I am in my kitchen. Sorry about the shadowing. There's not really much I can do with that. In this pot I have boiling hot water and I have 10 Lipton tea bags that I'm going to use and saturate in my water. And then I just grabbed some regular run-of-the-mill copy paper. This is not really thick, and I believe the brand is a Staples brand that I purchased. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I take these out of the container and just let it sit there. It depends. Sometimes I let it sit there for like a half an hour if I want really dark paper. And I don't do any measuring, guys. This is purely your discretion, but I, at a minimum, for about maybe half a pot of water, I put about 10 tea bags. And I get a lot of paper out of this. And a bunch of variety of other stuff. I don't let the water go to waste. Ooh, tea smells so good. All right, that's the last one. And then, let me grab a spoon. I just let it saturate and sit. I usually get a box of tea bags from BJ's, and I'm a coffee drinker, but I do drink tea occasionally, and because I buy them by the box and the box brings about 100, I don't get to finish the box before it expires. My husband only drinks tea, a certain kind of tea in the mornings, and sometimes they expire on me, but I'm perfectly okay with that because I can tea stain my paper. And you can see how dark. All I'm doing is pressing the tea bag so all that tea can come out. But I'm gonna let it sit there for a little bit and then we'll come back and do the next step. Okay, so you can see the water got really, really dark. And let me get a small container so I can drain. Oh, I got this little bowl here. The water's not as hot anymore, so all I'm doing is squeezing out the water and the rest of the tint. Don't throw these away. I let them air dry, and I'll show you another project and where I use these bags. Okay, I think that's all of them. Yes, that is all of them. Let me just rinse my hands. Now I have a pot that I have designated just for my tea staining of the papers and also tie-dyeing my papers. And it's grungy, guys, but it does the job. So I have this pot. This is where I let the paper dry. I'll just put them on the mat and just let the water saturate through. This is the pot that has seen better days, but I repurposed it to dye all my papers. So, and it's easily identifiable because we won't cook in that one. And I store it all the way in the bottom cabinet, all the way in the back. And then all I do is just start dipping my paper in. You can go as grungy as you want, as dark as you want. If you like, you can take it out at this stage if you want a light tint, because the tea is very strong. Now, sometimes I do one sheet at a time because I want it you know, pretty consistent. And then there's other times that I'll just take a stack of maybe 4 or 5 like that, and then just kind of let them go in. And what ends up happening is you'll get little air pockets inside. I don't know if you can see that. And some of the tint will grab darker and lighter in certain areas. So just for a variation, I do that. And it does make the process go way, way faster. And out of this batch, you can see how much water how much tea mix there is, so you can get a lot of paper stained. That's a big chunk. Let's see how that works out. And then a few loose. And I just continue until I feel I have enough, and then I'll look for other things that I can stain. There are times that I do come in and try to grab them as gently as I can, because you know it is paper and they are saturated, and kind of flip it just to get an idea of what the tint is starting to look like. And of course, once the air hits it, it's going to get a little darker than what you see here. Now at this point, you can let it sit there for 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you decide. There's been times I pulled it out directly. I'm just gonna let it sit there a little bit, and then I'll do a few different variations on time, and then I'll let you know how that works. So now I'm just gonna move this over so I can start draining my paper. So I'll grab a few. I don't try to separate them. I leave them together and just let the excess drip away, and then just lay it on my sheet. And for comparison, you can see, sorry about the lighting, but you can see the change. I'll grab this stack. I have baked my paper in the oven. Sometimes I may want a line across, which I think is very interesting. But you do have to stay there and watch it, because it will, it can burn your paper, especially the top layer. So you see, because of the discoloration of my pan and where it's missing the coating, sometimes I'll get darker areas, which I really like. I kind of put those papers off to the side and use that for like a grungy journal or a Halloween journal. I still have this stack of paper here, so I'm just going to continue because I use a lot of tea stain paper and I don't like to waste. You can play around with the variations of how many tea bags you use versus how much water. If you don't need that many, I'd like to, if I'm going to do this process, I'd rather mass make. And I'll continue until the mixture is used. You can see how the white is bubbling up. Love that. But if that's not what you like, just grab the entire stack you just put in, very carefully not to tear the edges, and then just pick it up and flip it so the mixture can get in there, and the weight of the other saturated papers will keep it as flat as possible. So I'm gonna let that sit there for a little bit. I'm gonna pause you here. I'm gonna go grab some other items that I think I can dye and use in my future projects. Okay, so I grabbed a few other items and I had left this sitting, so I think this is time for it to come out. Grab it as gently as you can. And I think these are gonna come out a little bit darker than my other ones. So I'm just letting the excess water drip out as much as it can. It'll help with the drying process. Excuse me, I have allergies, sorry about that. And you can see the discoloration, which I love. All right, so I grabbed some book pages that I think I can, just a random novel that I finished. It was really, really good. It was called, what was this one called? I read it a while ago. A Lot Like Adios, which means goodbye, a lot like goodbyes. And I don't leave these in here too long because they are book pages and they are very thin. But I want enough of a color to keep going. I also grabbed some, I have a notepad that I've been tearing away at little by little. So I grabbed a few sheets of those. These are great to stick in pockets for little additional writing spots. So I just grabbed a few. I also grabbed some index cards in 2 sizes. So I grabbed the larger ones and the smaller ones. And I'm gonna throw a few of those in there. Now with these index cards, sometimes the lines will go away or fade. I'm okay with that because sometimes I use them just as the blanks for the back of a journaling card, and then I decorate the front anyway, so that doesn't bother me. I'm more interested in the paper. So I'm going to slide these back and I'm going to start bringing out these book pages. Okay, so we have these. That's a very pretty color too. And then I'm going to slide those out of the way. See if I can grab the other set I put in here very carefully. You can wear gloves for this. Tea doesn't really alter my fingers as much as coffee would, or tie-dye. When I do use tie-dye, food coloring, anything like that, I do put on gloves. Because, yeah, I don't want to walk around with multicolored fingers. That's a loose page. What else I got here? Oh, here's another few more loose pages. Get these out of here. All right, so that's still sitting there. And then I grabbed some envelopes. Now, most times the envelope will come apart. I do leave, because these are already adhesive, I leave that plastic there just so when I pull it out, it doesn't, in case the adhesive is still good after being saturated, I don't want it to stick to my other sheets. So I think these are good. I'll pull those out. And then the index cards take a little bit. Let's grab this one. And I'm good with the hint, and I like stacking on top. So I'm gonna add the rest of these. And all I'm doing is opening the flap so it doesn't, again, stick to itself. And then I'm gonna let this sit, and I still have enough mixture that I can continue to dye more items. It's well worth the effort to do as much as you can. So this is a lot of paper. So I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and then I'll come back and we'll take them out. Okay, I let that sit for a little bit. What I'm gonna do is grab as many of these envelopes as I can and flip them. This puts the sticky side up, And then my index cards are all underneath. I'm going to do this one this way. And then I did grab more paper, so I'm going to continue with this mixture. And then I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll come back and share my results with you. Okay, everyone, so everything is dried and stacked, and I just wanted to share my results with you. These are the pages where the air bubbled underneath, and you saw those streaks of white. So we got a little hint. Some are more predominant than others, and you can see some are a little bit more darker than others. The ones that were exposed to the air a lot longer while it was drying just tinted up even more. I did get, here's another one that shows the variance in the white. These are the imperfections of the pen. I just love that grungy look, and it transferred through a few of the pages. This one was really light, one of the last ones. You can see the difference there. And then I let them dry naturally, and I let them dry stacked. Not the entire time, but when I start, when they start to dry out, I usually peel a sheet at a time, and in my spare bedroom, I lay out a plastic and a towel, and then just kind of lay them all out. And this is how they dry. No need to iron them. I have done them in the, oh, look at this one. I have done them in the oven. That gives it that really crinkly, crunchy sound. You see all the air bubble? I just love the effects. I did rip one, which I won't throw away because I can use that for backing up my tags or anything else that I need. So those are the pages, and this is what it looks like in comparison to white. And this is tea stain. For the book pages, this was a novel, I think I recall telling you. And it looks very similar, and it started out like an off-white, but you can see what it looks like now in comparison. So that's that. The index cards and the paper, obviously this was stark white, but it took a nice color. These are the envelopes. And the plastic is still here, and the stickiness is still there, but I love that grunge. You hear the babies playing, oh my goodness. Sorry about that, I gotta go referee. So these are the envelopes in comparison. Just a tint of color. And some of them, they're crinkled, but that's okay because I can cut these up and make them into pockets. And even some of the lines from the index cards transferred over, which I like for interest. Here are the index cards. And again, they were stark white. And you can see how some of the images, because they were stacked, the lines transferred over. I actually like that for interest. But those are the smaller ones. Here are the bigger ones. Oh, another smaller one, and it has the lines from where they stacked. So love the effect. That's the process on how I tea stain my items. It would be the same for fabric. It would be the same for doilies, paper doilies. It's just how I do it. All right, my friends, I hope this helps, and you'll give it a whirl. Let me know if you do. I would love to see your results. As always, have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye now.